Move that bus! Move that bus!
But we didn't rebuild or even renovate.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
Welcome to another episode of Life's Inside Track. I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
And it's where we get to share techniques, thoughts, tips, tools, and tactics that we all need, we all deserve. You, I, everyone. So we get to turn our house into home, our families thrive, we live the best life possible, and we build wealth wisely through real estate. We're going to consider that if your space, if your house, you're not loving it anymore. It just isn't cutting it for whatever reason. Is it time to renovate?
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, this is one of my favorite shows, actually. Favorite? Because we talk about the options, right? We say when your options are clear, your wisdom will flow. And when people aren't loving their house, they have really three options, right? They can renovate, they can add on, or they can move.
Right. So we're going to consider.
Or they can suck it up, Buttercup, I guess would be a fourth option.
I guess there's always four options. You pretty much always. We can usually get to four, maybe five options when we're laying out people's options. Mm-hmm. Right? And so in this case, we're just going to consider renovation.
Right.
If you're not loving it anymore, will renovations solve the problem? Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. Just before we got on air, when you weren't even ready in the studio yet, I was chatting with Will, our producer. Mm-hmm. And I was saying, we were bantering back and forth about, we've talked about this topic before. We've covered some of this on other Life's Inside Track episodes. And I said, I don't think quite like this. Mm-hmm. And even if we have, my question for you is, do you remember every single Life's Inside Track episode? Probably not. I don't even remember them all. And when we look at renovating, the thing we started chatting about was, will the renovation, it'll feel sparkly, it'll feel new, it'll be pretty, it'll be fresh, crisp, and clean. Will it actually address the thing that's a problem for me? That's a problem question for you.
And can I back you up for 1 second?
Back up the bus. We talked about the bus, right? About the bus. Back me up.
So I just was thinking, maybe we've said it in a different way 6 months or a year ago or whatever.
Or 14 years ago.
But the listener who's listening right now may be in the situation that the home isn't fitting them anymore. And so it needs the renovation, or it needs maintenance, or it needs an addition, or they need to move. And 6 months or a year ago, that wasn't their position. So they didn't have the listening ear on. And it may not have been appropriate for them at that time. So, yeah, they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I say the teacher's always there, but the student will hear when they're ready.
I concur with you 100%. So as we look at your house, the question you want to ask yourself, if you're just not loving it anymore, it's just not cutting it. And what your reason is your reason. We're not going to give you a litany of reasons that it might not be working. You know for yourself whether it is or it isn't, right? And even just us posing the question may make it go, oh, we've been arguing more. Why have we been arguing more? And as you start to unpack that or consider it or reflect on it, you go, we each need a home office. And we can't find any way of creating one in this space. But maybe if we renovate, we could. Because for us, I chose that topic, that example, because for us, if we don't each have our own office, it's a problem. Both at our Corvus location, we'll be hosting a wealth building workshop September 25th. Still a few tickets. Space is limited. Want to get your ticket? It's a family package, teens and older, with the parents if they attend, because there's a strategy. You'll want to know for them, and they'll want to know for themselves that if they apply it, deploy it, their financial success is assured. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
It is, isn't it?
Right. So if you're thinking of doing a reno, one of our things that we're going to say as an overview is do it well.
Sorry, I laugh.
If you're not skilled at it, get somebody in that is skilled and look at their portfolio, look at their pictures of their renovations, because a poor renovation can actually lower your property value and cost you significantly.
Yeah. And if I'm going to renovate, as I started to say, does it solve my long-term problem? Or is it just going to feel good and it really doesn't solve the issue? Is it kind of like a Band-Aid that doesn't heal the cut?
Right.
Doesn't heal the situation?
Yeah. When we've come into homes in the past where they started renovating, doing some different things, but they haven't completed the package, and now the house feels incomplete. And it's actually harder on their valuation than if they hadn't started at all. So then we tell them, oh, you got to finish. And they say, well, we're tired. We don't want to do anymore. We're exhausted. Well, I'm sorry. Then that's going to affect the price significantly or the ability to sell it.
Yeah, and more it's the price, because the market will receive any home in the market if the price reflects what the market will receive. So you never have to worry. People say, well, will my home sell? Will my home sell? It's like, I can sell any home, provided it's at a price that the market will receive, and you're willing to take some counsel, and, there's a little more dialogue around that.
So what would be 3 advantages to renovating?
Well, one is I don't have the hassle of a move. Who likes to move?
Yep.
We don't do it so often because it ain't so fun.
Yep. Another advantage is you get exactly what you want.
Just
where
make sure
you want it.
Exactly what you want.
You got to be sure, because once it's done, it's expensive to change it.
Yeah. And then the third advantage is it might cost less to renovate, provided it solves the problem long term, than moving.
Right. Those are great. Now, what about disadvantages, Yetta? There's got to be disadvantages to renovating.
The hidden costs.
Yeah, the unexpected.
The thing where you start to do something and you go, ooh, now I need to do this.
Yep.
Or a simple little thing. And one of our clients just did this recently. And luckily, she had the income. It just meant or the money for it. She just shifted her priorities in a different part of the renovation. But she fell in love with a particular tile. To do it was a bathroom reno, and she was doing 3 bathroom renos all at the same time, because if you're going to do it, you might as well do it, but one after another. So she still had access to a bathroom. And as she was doing the renovation, she fell in love with a tile, and it wasn't really any more per square foot. It's about the same cost per square foot as the other tiles that she looked at. When she didn't count on, they were much smaller tiles. And the cost of installation was double that of the larger, simpler tile.
Took an extra day to install them. Right. Well, she got a lot more grout to keep clean, right?
And just didn't even think about that impact. So just think about the overarching cost, so that you don't have too big a disadvantage around that.
Yeah. Another disadvantage is the actual disruption to your life, the dirt, the mess, all of that, right?
Yeah, and not all of them. We kind of alluded to this. The third one is they don't all increase the value.
That's true. Not always does it bump the value because it's your taste, right? So doing it for your personal self for 5-10 years you want to live there, or doing it for resale, 2 different discussions. So is it time to call the Dekker team for a fabulous contractor? We're honored to be positioning you to build wealth wisely, because it's about much more than just money.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.